Have you considered a move to Metro Detroit or within Metro Detroit? Well, then certainly Troy has been on your list because it is consistently ranked as one of the top suburbs to live in Metro Detroit. In this video, we're going to cover schools, the lifestyle, the shopping, the economy, everything you need to know when deciding whether or not this community might be a fit for you. If you're new to the Detroit area, Troy is in Oakland County, one of the major counties that make up the Metro Detroit, Southeast Michigan area. And it's in the easternmost portion of Oakland County, just directly north of the city. And Troy is really a larger community with 87,000 residents currently, and it's situated near some of the most expensive communities within Metro Detroit. To your west, you've got Bloomfield Township, Birmingham. To your north, you've got Rochester Hills, and Oakland Township. And Troy provides, I wouldn't say necessarily a happy medium, right? But relatively speaking, real estate prices that are a little bit more affordable than those areas, but still higher than Metro Detroit as a whole. Now, there are a lot of things that make Troy a pretty desirable neighborhood to live in. And one of the things that really it has going for it is its location. You're only about 20 miles north of the city of Detroit. And so commute times to Detroit anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes, depending on what part of the city you're going into. But like I mentioned, you're super close to some of these other really nice suburban areas that surround the city of Detroit. 10, 15 minutes to Royal Oak, to Birmingham, to Bloomfield, to Rochester. Pretty quick commute. You're also only 20, 30 minutes away from Southfield, which is another pretty large commercial hub within Metro Detroit outside of the city itself. The one drawback that I would say is if you have any desire or frequent commutes to Ann Arbor. If you're just going down to Ann Arbor to catch a football game or something like that, then it's not bad. But if you were regularly commuting to Ann Arbor, then you're not gonna probably pick Troy as your location because you're looking really 45 to 50 minutes in good traffic, anywhere from an hour plus though if traffic's a little tight. And one thing about Michigan is that traffic's always a little bit tight because we're fixing all the roads all at one time. Outside of location, Troy is always near the top of the list when it comes to school rankings. And typically, I like to use greatschools.org, but niche.com and US News and World Reports all have ranked Troy very high in its list of school districts for the state of Michigan. And it's very common for it to be in that upper echelon. Troy High School, Athens High School, both 9s out of 10s currently on Great Schools. And you also have International Academy East, which is technically part of the Troy School District. This one, though, does have an application process and is really kind of at the top of the list in terms of preparing students for the college environment. Now, one of the things that Troy really has going for it is a 96% graduation rate, and it's also part of Michigan's Blue Ribbon designation. So really going to be top-notch schools if that is important to you. And even if schools aren't important to you, one of the things I like to tell my clients is that home values are very much dictated by school district here in the state of Michigan, or at least here in Metro Detroit, I should say. And so really, if you're looking for an upper middle class area, Troy's going to fit. And part of the reason that makes it upper middle class is because of the desirability for the school system. Now, I just referred to Troy as upper middle class, and what's making me put it in that category is the fact that it's definitely has the desirability that forces the home values over the Metro Detroit median sales price, but I wouldn't quite consider it a luxury environment. You can certainly find $1 million plus homes within Troy, but not as frequently as you are to some of the areas that surround it. So to the west, your Birmingham Bloomfields, to your north, your Oakland Township, Rochester. Those home values can peak a little bit higher than what we typically see in Troy. But what makes Troy appealing to a lot of people is the variability in homes that you're going to find. Now, I did mention that it is a pretty densely populated area, 87,000 residents within Troy. So you're not going to find farm or rural type homes. You're not going to find a lot of acreage. But if you're looking for a condo, a single family brick ranch, pretty mid-century colonial, things like that are scattered throughout Troy. And you can also find a lot of newer construction, occasionally some brand new construction, but ultimately Troy's fairly established, and so not a ton of large pre-platted subdivisions going in. It's more so of teardowns or vacant lots that are going to fit the new construction vibe if that's what you prefer. Now, in addition to a lot of housing options, Troy is pretty well known for being a pretty large commercial hub here in Metro Detroit as well. Obviously not as big as like a downtown Detroit or even Southfield, but a lot of commerce going on in Troy with a lot of companies that have world headquarters or major influences within Troy. And so you're going to find, a lot of employment opportunities, especially in tech or finance or healthcare, if that's what your specialty is. A lot of other options, obviously, but certainly nothing that says you have to stick within Troy because the commute is so convenient that you can easily get to other parts of town that have those employment opportunities. Now, when we're talking commerce within Troy, we're not just talking about these big corporations that have headquarters there. Troy also has a pretty expansive shopping and dining network. Really probably better than most, if not all, other suburbs within Metro Detroit. And that's really, its cornerstone is the Somerset Collection, which is the best mall that I'm aware of, or the nicest mall with the highest end type of shops in there. Your Louis Vuittons, your Gucci's, your Neiman Marcus's, things like that make up the Somerset Collection. And really, there's plenty of shopping and dining outside of that mall environment as well. Pretty much everywhere you turn, you can find both big chain type restaurants, but also some mom and pops. And because there's a decent amount of diversity within Troy, you can also find, your Indian cuisine, your Asian cuisine, things of that nature to really, mix things up if you're looking for diversity in terms of community, but diversity in terms of dining as well. While the shopping and dining options are a plethora within Troy, the one thing that it's lacking that I'm typically a fan of when I'm looking for a community is walkability. Troy doesn't have any sort of downtown area, so that you're really not able to live or even commute to a place within the city limits that offers walkability in terms of coffee shops, restaurants, boutiques. You would have to venture out to some of the neighboring communities that really aren't that far away. Rochester's got a great downtown. Birmingham's got an amazing downtown. Royal Oak to the south, also a nice downtown. So you lack the downtown and walkability within Troy itself, but there are plenty of other local options if you're looking for, some more of that small town feel occasionally. So I mentioned that finding acreage, within Troy is going to be difficult to find given the population and how developed it is. But if you're somebody that likes to be outside, likes to get some activity, some physical fitness in the great outdoors, walk the dog, what have you, you can rely on Troy when it comes to park systems. So there is 1,000+ acres of parks within the Troy boundaries. And so if you're looking to get outside, you have that option, and there's definitely going to be a park nearby wherever it is that you end up calling home. Now, Troy also has a pretty nice community center, and this has got an indoor pool, it's got a fitness facility, gymnasium, all the things that you would expect out of a quality community center. And not just indoor athletics, but also there's a community pool nearby, there's a tennis club, and so really Troy does a great job of making sure that its citizens have a lot of options in terms of parks and rec. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm a big hockey and golf guy. If you've watched any of our videos, I always like to highlight if there's a good ice rink or if there's good golf out in these different communities. And Troy's got one of the biggest rinks in the area. It's now called Buffalo Wild Wings Arena. There's 4 sheets of ice within the facility, and it's very common to have tournaments there for us. So I don't play there personally, but obviously play there regularly because of these tournaments and the different options that it provides by having such a large facility. And there's actually not an official Buffalo Wild Wings upstairs, but kind of a spin-off where you can get some food and watch the hockey games from an upstairs seating environment. And then there are a few golf options. I wouldn't consider Troy to be like the best golfing city in Metro Detroit, but probably the most common one is Sylvan Glen. Somerset Collection has a golf course as well, but really not going to be your prime destination for golf, but situated again conveniently that you can get to a lot of great courses with just a really small drive if you live in Troy. So we've covered a lot of the different pros that make Troy a great place to live. One of the things that I think is worth noting, and I'm usually a little cautious to bring it up on these videos because of my real estate license and what we're allowed to talk about, but if you go to Safewise, Niche, or even the FBI crime reporting statistics, Troy is consistently ranked as a safe city to live in. That's both in terms of personal property loss and violent crimes. It scores very well. And so the community really offers a great, safe place to live with also a lot of good community services. I mean, we highlighted Parks and Rec, but it's also got great response times and really is responsive in general in terms of any administrative stuff that you need to take care of in Troy. And, you know, that's got to be paid for somehow, right? And so the size of its residence is nice. The fact that it's got a good commercial area, that's all bringing in tax money to the city. But it is a slightly higher tax rate than a lot of the communities within Metro Detroit. And so something to factor in terms of the cost of living in Troy is going to make sense for you and your family. But if you have the means, Troy is definitely going to be one of these places that you consider. If you're looking for a little bit more luxury, as I mentioned earlier, you're probably going to venture out. It might also be a little bit too unaffordable because competition for homes in Troy is pretty significant on a regular basis, at least in today's market. And as long as it keeps the great school system and great community in general, it's going to continue to thrive in terms of real estate values. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are highlighting different communities and different lifestyles that Michigan, specifically Metro Detroit, most frequently has to offer. And if you're interested in what the current inventory and pricing looks like in Troy, please reach out to me. My contact information is below in the description. I'd be happy to give you the most up-to-date information and really help guide you in terms of if this community makes sense for you, if maybe there's a better option out there. My name is Ryan. I'm with Michigan Living, and I hope you got some value out of this video, and we'll see you on the next one.